Hello, and welcome to Pasión de las Pasiones. And here we are. This is an RPG of Mexican telenovelas. This is definitely in my top 5 games that I love. So we are playing this today. This is part of Gauntlet Con, and this is the last day of Gauntlet Con, an exhausting a series of games. I think, Tyler, I can see the fatigue there on your face a little bit there, and you've run and played. Um, so I want to go through and talk about the setup of this. I put the links for uh, the character spreadsheet there. In that, I want to go through some setup, and then we'll talk about what playbooks people might want. I'm going to introduce them a little bit and get things set. So this is a game of telenovela, romance, and melodrama, and excitement, and all of that. It is a game about a different culture. You may have noticed I'm super white. So I just want to point that out. That has several implications. One is that when I pronounce my Spanish, it is going to be bad. And I'm going to apologize right now for anyone playing or listening or watching this for that. One of the things we're doing is this is melodrama. And so it is heightened emotion, heightened experience, but we don't want that to go into parody. We want to make sure that we're respectful. We're exploring these stories, these kinds of materials and things like that. One of the things that is important with that is we avoid accents. So just don't even, we just leave those aside for the purposes of this. So basically the concept is that we're going to be playing out telenovela stories, and that we're playing out in a show that has been going on for a while. So we're building on things that we're going to kind of imply have happened before, kind of going a little bit in medias res, so you can build up from there. And this may be like a season ender, or a penultimate episode for a season. We will find that out. Our aim is to kind of play out these stories, explore these characters' lives, have fun doing the high melodrama of it, and bounce off of each other, because everyone's going to have different desires and different plots and plans. A tone is it's drama, it's melodrama. I think that's what I can say. It is not super serious. This is not Narcos or anything like that, but neither is it over the top comedy. We are definitely in a state of heightened emotion here. With that in mind, the last thing I want to mention about that sort of setup is safety. We are using 2 different safety tools today for play. One is the X card. The X card is used to mark tone, used to mark objectionable material, anything that you're like, let's move past that. If you do that, you can do that saying X card. You can do the gesture, however you want to do that. We will edit past that, no questions, except for maybe where we need to cut to get to that. That's a basic responsive safety tool. It's very, very basic. I mean, there are a lot of other really good tools out there. That's the one I use for online play. To complement that, though, we are using lines and veils. And you will find a tab for that in the character keeper for our lines and veils. Lines meaning anything that we're like, hard no. This is not something that we're going to be exploring during the course of play here. And a veil being anything that if it pops up, we're going to fade to black on it. We're going to, they embrace, and then we fade to black. I'm going to ask that at any point during this character creation process, you can go over to that tab and check the boxes for lines and veils there for anything that you feel. There's also space to add in more. And what I'm going to try and remember to do is, after we do character creation, I'll come back and say, these are what our lines and veils are. And we can add on to them in the course of play. So let me say what the setup is generally, I want to talk about the moves for this because they're a little bit different than your usual Powered by the Apocalypse game. And then I'm going to ask about people's playbooks, what they're thinking about. So our premise here is this is a show called La Rosa Querida. It is set in a hotel, and it has been going on for multiple seasons. And at the start of our particular show, an old character, Elena, is returning. There's a big wedding that's going on. We don't know exactly why she's returning and so on. All of our characters are going to be associated with this hotel in some way. You might work there. You might be the owner. You might just be the pool boy. It's up to you how you want to define who your character is. We've got the hotel, we've got a bar near the hotel. It's a dingy place to meet. We've got a pool house. We have a cliff with no safety rails. Those are all things that are there present in our situation. So I want you to keep that in mind as we talk about these characters and thinking about the situation. Now, most Powered by Apocalypse games have stats of some kind. This game does not. It has no stats. Instead, whenever you go to do something, you're going to ask 3 questions. This is for almost all the moves. Each move under the basic moves you'll see has 2 questions. For example, if you go to express your love passionately, if you go to do that move, we will ask, are you dressed to impress? And do they believe you're single? Any yeses will give you +1 on the roll. The third question will always come from your playbook. So, for example, whenever the beauty does a move, she always asks, or he always asks, are you the center of attention? And yes means another +1. So you can go from 0, you might say no to everything, to +1. Sorry, +3. I'll do the math. It's hard, but there we go. So that's how that's going to work. And we'll negotiate about that. Most of the basic moves, if we go to that move tab, you'll see we've got the 3 manipulation ones: demanding what you deserve, expressing your love passionately, and then distract, or trick. Okay. And these are pretty broad, so we can negotiate about what your intention is with those moves. The middle column has striking out at someone, and this doesn't have to be physically striking, though slapping someone is essentially key to the genre. So I just want you to keep that in mind. I want somebody slapped during the course of play today. But it can be violence, voice, accuse someone of lying. Accuse someone of lying is an interesting move because if you succeed well, you can declare that you are right despite what the audience has seen on screen. So it allows you to retcon and will flash back to show how, in fact, you're right when you accuse them of lying. Act with desperation is our classic doing something under pressure PbtA move. Our single investigative question asking move is spot something out of place. And that is usually about people. If you're asking about things, we'll probably, just tell you the details or let you come up with the details on that. Then the last move on this basics tab, the last one I'm going to talk about this, is process your feelings out loud. This is the move where Tyler's character stands by the window. It's raining outside. Tyler looks off into the distance and begins talking about what his character is feeling and what his character wants and why can't he get it. And when Tyler does that, we poll the rest of the players, poll the audience to see if they are rooting for Tyler. If they are, then Tyler gets a +1 for every person who's backing them. Otherwise, if they say no, then you don't get any kind of bonus. And then the results have the audience telling that character what to do. So there are a couple of moves here that manipulate things, that can change things up and are a little bit more meta. So those are the basic moves. Now I'm going to point at another set of moves here, just because they're ones to keep in mind. They're probably a little more situational, but are important to keep in mind. On the other moves tab, we've got flashback to preparations When you flash back to the time you made preparations, we roll with those questions. And essentially that allows you to have set something up. You've fabricated some evidence. You've arranged for somebody to be in the right place. You've stowed something away hidden. It allows you to change the scene. And the other one is flashback to reveal a shocking truth about another PC. When you do that, you mark one of your conditions, take damage, and then you roll with however many conditions you have marked. And you get to change up. We get a reveal. I go, gasp, and the audience reacts back at home. So those are two big changer moves. The last one I'm going to mention here is, at some point, you may face certain death. There's no combat moves in here besides this slapping somebody and so on. But at some point, a gun may come onto the table, or someone may get pushed off a cliff, or whatever. Whenever it is pretty clear that you are facing sudden death, certain death, you're going to roll with however many conditions you have marked, and then you get to make a choice about what happens, which includes someone saving you just in time. You get a sexy scar. You get a permanent debility. There are a lot of choices there. So just keep that in mind. All right, almost done talking. Almost. If you look on the characters tab, you'll see that we have six playbooks. Some of them have some moves that are set. I've put those in the sheet. Some of them have picks. You can find that on the playbooks move tab. Each of these has a stress track. You have 4 unique conditions. Like, for example, La Donna, the matriarch, has zealous, obsessed, introspective, and preoccupied. These all give you a bonus to one move and a penalty to another move. And these stack. So it can happen that occurs. When you go to mark a condition, I'll say mark a condition and you choose which one you want to mark. When you mark all of your conditions, you will melt down. You will have a meltdown. At the bottom of each column, you will see what the meltdown does. And it has a description of that. So that is a good thing to potentially lean into. All right. That gives us a good general sense of things. We have 6 playbooks. We have the beauty. The beauty is the character who manipulates, he or she manipulates using their wiles, their appearance, their charm. They expect to be the one who is everyone is looking at when they make an entrance. We have La Donna, the matriarch. He or she is the person who is behind the scenes, the elder statesman pulling the strings. They may still be actually up and in the business, but they're also trying to keep their hands clean. We have El Gemelo. That's the twin. This is an unusual playbook in that if you choose this one, you choose another PC and you are the evil/good twin of that PC. We have El Jefe. El Jefe is the boss. El Jefe has thugs. El Jefe gets things done. They take control of the situation. They are behind the scenes, and they can cause some serious harm. We have La Empleada. This is the employee. The poor employee is put upon. They are caught in the middle of things. They are caught between 2 suitors, ideally other PCs that they can't quite make their mind up about. La Empleada has access to the single greatest move in this entire game, which is called Keys to the Castle, which is after a scene, you can reveal that you've secretly been listening to the whole conversation. And we roll to see, how you were hidden behind a plant or whatnot. And then lastly, we have El Caballero, who is the gentleman of honor, or gentlewoman of honor who wants to face things head on and be honest and true to themselves. So Puckett has expressed a preference for El Caballero. That's one preference that's out there. But he has said a willingness to negotiate if others feel strongly about that. So, Kaylee, you were the second to jump in. Do you have a strong preference for any one of these or a couple of these?
I would say either the employee or the twin sounds
Okay.
cool to me.
Okay, play or twin. All right, I'm going to make a note of that.
Thank you.
Kyle, what about you?
Uh, I'd say either the beauty or the matriarch.
Okay. And Tyler, do you have a strong feeling about one of those? Can you narrow a choice for one of the previous players?
I like La Donna or El Jefe.
Well, Kaylee, we know it's employer twin. Which one do you want?
I think I'll go with the employee.
Okay, employee it is. Kyle, beauty or matriarch?
Matriarch.
Okay. So are you good with the El Jefe then, Tyler?
See.
All right. So all you can go ahead and choose your moves. And we're going to fill in those two relationship questions. We'll fill those in after everybody has introduced themselves. We'll do a last time on where you at the beginning of the session. And if you have any other questions, hit me up on those. I'm going to hide the other columns. Gasp. If you need pictures in the folder, the drive folder that has all of this, I have put some pictures of telenovela actors and actresses in there.
Sorry, where are the pictures?
Yeah, how do you get to those?
Oh, sure. I will grab, I have in the big folder, this is, actually, let me copy it again here from here. Copy, get shareable link, can edit, copy. I'm gonna drop this in the chat. Paste. You'll see there is a folder for women and a folder for men there.
Oh, I see.
Also, because I always forget to do this every session I run, for those of you watching at home, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him. A little tardy on that. Yeah, at some point I'll go through this character keeper and make a better place to put the pictures in.
Hey, Lowell. You said something about choosing our moves. Where do we
Yes.
put those?
Okay. The playbook moves are on that you'll have to choose from. For the empleada, you're going to pick one from Keys to Cancel or Confession or Brute. You'll find those in the playbook moves. And I would just drop that in the box that is below the your suitors box.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Puckett, how did you get your picture to pop up? I keep copying my link over and it just stays as a link.
You know, I was looking at that and I wonder if it's because you're using that Google link. It doesn't look like it actually has a JPEG or TIFF or any kind of graphic file ending on it.
Yeah, I think that's it. You can, if you want, in that space, you can do insert image, and then it'll pull up options from that. All right. So we are going to start, and I'm going to arbitrarily begin in a particular direction, in a particular person here. Tyler. I look at me starting in the middle of the sheet. How crazy is that? Tyler, you are playing El Jefe. Please tell me who our El Jefe is. What is she like?
Espalda de Rosa is our El Jefe, and she came up from a difficult upbringing. Her parents were constantly fighting. Her mother was a violent woman, and early early teens, she made her way into kind of the gang life to find that family she never had. And she managed to rise up through the ranks of that, not simply because she was smarter, but because she was also willing to move to violence when she needed to. She had grown up with that idea that to make a point sometimes needed the back of your hand. And the members of her gang quickly discovered that pissing off Espalda is a quick way to find yourself either out of the game or out of the gang, or, well, no longer breathing. And since then, she has managed to accumulate a pretty good amount of wealth and tried to leave the more gang-oriented life behind. She still has the connections, but she's gone legit. But, you know, you don't leave the gang life.
She still has some of the gang that are clearly at her beck and call. What kind of business was the gang involved in?
The gang was involved in drugs and in kidnappings.
Ooh, so seriously bad dudes.
Now they were honorable kidnappers. You pay your money, you get your person back. I mean, that's just fair.
Fair enough. What is how old do you think Espalda is?
I think, looking at her picture, I think that Espalda is probably in her late 30s, early 40s, but I mean, she's holding on to it. She looks phenomenal.
And in sort of the general society of this place, do people go, well, that's Espalda, she came up from this, or they go, oh, Espalda to Rosa, she's just come into money?
I think she doesn't, telegraph the more nefarious ends of things. So people in the know would probably have heard these rumors. But, she, I think that it's a little bit of a mystery where her money came from. She's certainly not a rich widow or anything like that. And since no one knows much about her family, there is the kind of assumption that she comes from money.
What is Espalda's connection to the hotel? Offices there, visits there, is a patron there, has a controlling interest? What do you think?
I think that probably she has an interest in the hotel. I think that this is a way to kind of launder money from some of her sources that are still out there that are getting money from illegal means. And so it can filter through the hotel and come out all squeaky clean.
But she is just one of a couple of people. There is my what I'm hearing.
I'm very open to that being the case. If nobody wants to be involved with the hotel, then it can be, Palacia de Rosa if it needs to be.
Okay. All right. I think that gives me a good sense. Once we have everybody introduced, then we'll come around and we'll ask those two relationship questions and get those set. I'm going to actually work my way to the left, and let's hear from Kyle. Kyle, tell us about La Donna. Tell us about Dolores.
All right. I'm playing Dolores, the matriarch, the La Donna. I'm thinking she's old money, like really old money. So she's got a lot of the respectability, but by this point, like her family's running a little low on the actual money part of old money.
Okay.
But she's still sort of in charge of the family, manages what interests and properties they have left. I think the hotel is probably important to her because a lot of the funds are tied up in it.
Okay, so you and Espalda have strong control over the hotel then?
I guess, or I could make it some nearby property or something? If
No,
if you prefer.
make it the hotel, and then you probably had to sell out some of your shares, to keep your family afloat, right?
That sounds good.
So there is that tension that happens in that. Married, unmarried?
Unmarried.
Unmarried. And when you say unmarried, is that unmarried as in never married? Is it divorced? Is it widowed?
I think she never married, and at least my current thoughts are like she had like brothers or something who mostly ran the family into the ground, and only after they died did she sort of inherit what's left. And yeah, never married.
So she is the one who has been the rock, who has stuck around, who has kept the family fortunes. I assume there are other more wastrel and dissolute members of the family who are around, probably nephews and nieces and things like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. And when people whisper about LaDonna, what do they say? What is the rumor? What is the impression that is given of her?
People say that their finances still aren't good, but she's doing a lot better off than she was just a few years ago. So there's rumors maybe she's gotten into crime somehow.
Excellent. And you have, and I probably should have mentioned with Tyler's about his moves. You have the schemes. That's a special feature. You're going to choose 2 projects which you've been working. Because this is a one shot, you do not have to set those ahead of time. At any point, you can go, oh, this is one of my schemes. This is how I'm using it. Okay. So you can keep those in mind and bring those into play. And then you've got Tell Me Everything.
Yes.
And Tell Ifiano. I'm going to be really interested to see who your friends and close contacts are. We'll have to come up with some NPCs for that from the hotel as we go along. Awesome. We'll come back to you and hit you on those relationship questions here in just a little bit. We're going to wrap around to Don Diego Santiago. Puckett, please tell us about Don Diego.
Don Diego is a man of leisure these days, although he wasn't always that way. He had what you might call a checkered past. And
Okay.
It is only in the last several years that he has been able to retire to the life of leisure that he always dreamed about. He also has something of a temper, but only when it is deployed in the pursuit of justice. He learned very hard lessons from a very young age and is determined not to repeat the mistakes of his youth.
What kind of mistakes in his youth?
A gentleman never tells.
Fair
But
enough.
they may have involved somewhat less than legal activities.
So, what do people know about Don Diego before he came here, before he came to this area? Are there rumors? Are there any solid notions about that?
Well, there are always rumors about a gentleman, aren't there? There are rumors about whether he actually has a sword in that cane that he walks with. There are rumors that he killed a man in Veracruz. There are always rumors.
And what is his relationship to the hotel? Is he a long-term guest? Is he work here? Is he just around in the area? What do you think?
There may be a couple of people in the area who know of him, or even perhaps knew him in the old days. But now he's here because the climate is temperate and he's old and he wants to relax and enjoy the twilight of his years.
Unmarried
Presently.
presently. Is there any kind of sign on your finger of there ever having been a wedding ring?
If you look very, very carefully, you can see the weathered outline of a wedding band, which was clearly worn around the clock nonstop for many years, but it was clearly also removed long ago.
Excellent.
It's not something he speaks of.
And your moves you chose are which ones?
He's a protector. The two moves he chose are for your protection. When you offer your protection to someone and they accept, hold 1, spend that hold to appear in a scene with them at any time, and take a stand. When you step in to defend someone, roll with the questions. Are you trying to impress them, or is the law being broken? And then there are various outcomes for that.
Excellent, excellent. And what is it? Does he have, besides the cane, any other fashion affectations?
Well, there's a pretty clear picture of him, and he tends to dress not quite casually, but not informally either.
Okay.
It's the sort of clothing that if he put on a tie could easily pass as evening wear, but he would never lower himself to wear a polo shirt or slacks that were not able to be matched with the suit coat.
Excellent. He is a man of taste and leisure. Excellent. Thank you so much. We're going to come back and hit you with those relationship questions in just a bit. That brings us to Alejandra.
Hello.
Kaylee, tell us about Alejandra.
So Alejandra came from a very, very poor family, and she ended up leaving because her mother was too poor to feed all of her siblings. And the Donna, she came to work at the hotel, so she does all of the hotel work that she's asked. She doesn't ask questions. She knows what hunger's like, and she's hungry to live and be secure in her place at the hotel.
How old would you say Alejandra is?
I would say mid-20s.
Okay.
Young enough to
Mid-twenties.
still be really ambitious, but not so young to be completely stupid.
Does she have ambitions?
Her ambitions are kind of loose right now, but she knows she wants. She's just not sure how to get there because she doesn't come from old money. She doesn't come from a gang. Right now she works at a hotel, but she knows the hotel has possibilities.
And has been here for a couple of years, or
a few years. Probably since she was 18, 19, something like that. Came in early, stuck around.
And predominantly maid, or does she switch around and kind of do catch can?
She does whatever is asked. So
Okay.
typically that's maid service because that's something that always needs to be done. But, maybe she helps with the washing sometimes.
Okay. So one of the things we're going to have for you, of course, is you start out with 2 suitors, and these are ideally player characters, but you can choose NPC as well. We'll come and ask you about that when we do your relationship questions, so you can figure out about that. And that's one of those ones where you'll ask the other player if they're cool with that, check in on it. And then, as I mentioned, Keys to the Castle. And Keys to the Castle is one of those things that is incumbent on you to go, oh, before we move on to this next scene, I want to do this, because I will forget it. That is, I forget everybody's moves. They go out of my head the second I've stopped looking at them. All right. You have siblings.
Yes.
Which one of them which one of them or more than one of them are here in the area, either working at the hotel or being lazy layabouts or whatnot?
I think one of my older brothers kind of haunts the corner. Like, he definitely has a job, he does something with his time, but she's never really sure what it is. And he's always just kind of there. Doesn't necessarily approach, but doesn't necessarily leave either.
And what is their name?
Of course.
How about
Alejandro, and that's like.
Yep. How about Julio?
Julio sounds great.
Okay, Julio. And who is the other sibling? Let's say a younger sibling that is around, and what are they doing around in the area?
I think one of my youngest sibling, a little girl named Maria, likes to run errands for the hotel. So she'll run out and she'll grab, the freshest bread or freshest pastries in the morning and come running back over and offer them to the hotel's matron or maybe Espalda if she sees her first.
Are your parents alive, dead, split? What?
Never knew my father.
Oh, okay.
My mother's there, but she's still working, still trying to feed everyone.
Okay. Excellent. Well, we will come back to you on those relationship questions. Oh, Espalda, you've now heard these tales of your allies and enemies and so on. And you've got a gang of thugs, and you can name them as we go along. Do you think that you have an office at the hotel, or do you have an office a ways away, or do you just show up there? What do you think?
I think I probably have an office at the hotel,
Okay.
and then there's probably some sort of meeting place for when I do less legal things, but it's like the back of a garage or something like that.
So if you would say that your thugs, your gang, are just most of them kind of hanging around, just standing at the corner kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not strangely, not unlike Alejandra's older brother. Interesting. All right. So you have 2 questions to answer here, and these should generally be PCs. So let's have you go through those 2.
All right. Blank has been a thorn in your side and a constant irritation. Natural, that normally would fit for Ladonia or for the El Caballero. So Don Diego or Dolores. Let's see. That's setting enemies early. So I think I'd rather have a good relationship with my partner. So Don Diego.
Okay.
The right choice there.
What kind of irritation has Don Diego been?
I think that even in my youth, I had heard of Don Diego, perhaps, and might have some inkling of him and his importance from back some time ago. But here in more recent times, I'm pretty positive that Don Diego knows of my past. He's probably let little side remarks come across, and so he constantly sort of vexes me. And when he is he going to let out my disreputable past? Is he there trying to stand in my way of gaining complete control of the hotel, that sort of thing?
Does that work for you, Puckett?
Can I add something to it? Don Diego, being a stand-up gentleman, is also annoyed by the obviously false name that she uses. Because who would name themselves Back?
I like it. And then what about your other question?
Let's see. Blake is an object of beauty you have sworn intention to possess. And I think that's probably Alejandra.
That makes sense. Absolutely. Do you think that's a sense of romantic, of uncertain, or I want to reshape this person, or what kind of control?
I think that I think it's romantic, and I think that it's here's someone who has similar background but wasn't pressed into doing things that still haunt me at night, things that were terrible. There's an innocence that I see, whether it's really there or not, that I think, I long for the idea that there is someone I could share my life with whose hands are clean of the blood that are on mine.
Perfect. Does that work for you, Alejandra? Excellent. All right, that gives us those two. You may be asking yourself, what's the mechanical implication of these things? There is none. Welcome to the game. All right, there we go. Let's come to Dolores. Dolores, what is your first relationship question?
Actually, quick question.
Yeah.
Would you all remind me of your characters' ages?
So Espalda is late 30s, 40s, sort of indeterminate. Alejandra is mid-20s. And Don Diego is...
I am endless.
Endless.
Like the sea.
Okay.
That's how he talks. Yes.
For the record, Dolores is early 50s.
Okay.
Just wanted to get that in my head before. All right, so first question. Blank is someone you've sparred with for a very long time. I'm going to pick Espalda. I think Dolores is less fond of Espalda than Espalda is of her.
Nice. And singularly appropriate.
And I think Alejandra is a broken little bird that I take care of.
That makes sense. What is it you see in Alejandra that makes your crusty old heart have some sympathy?
She's, she's doing what needs to be done for her family. And in her case, that's going off and taking care of herself and not being a burden. And Dolores respects that and wants to look out for her.
Okay. Does that work for you, Alejandra? Excellent. Don Diego.
This will be interesting. I'm going to answer the second one first.
Okay.
Who knew you when you used to get into trouble and has seen your hard side? And I think that I think there's really only one person that it could be. And I think it has to be La Doña, Dolores. I mean, she's the only person old enough.
What of your hard side has she seen?
One night at the hacienda, there was a horrible, horrible altercation. One of the cowboys was fighting with his girlfriend and had pulled a knife as if to cut her. And I stopped him, but in the process, he fell onto his own blade and died before anyone could help him. She stood there watching in horror as the blood spilled out onto the tile stones. I looked up, terror, regret in my eyes, and fled.
Was that the last night you were here for a very long time?
That was the last time anyone saw me for a very long time, yes.
Excellent. And then what about your other question?
I think the only person it could be is Alejandra. Because, of course, I'm not going to go to a known criminal like Espalda. I'm not going to turn to La Doña about it. These things, perhaps there is some wisdom that I have learned through my years that I can impart to her that will help her as she grows.
I like it. That seems good. Alejandro, you good with that? Alejandra, let's come to you on your two questions.
Well, I think the first one is obvious. It's who holds control over my well-being as my employer, and that has to be La Donna,
Okay.
like Dolores, because she is literally my employer. And
She's the one who handles the day-to-day of the hotel.
Yeah, she handles the day-to-day. She tells me what I'm doing for the day. She pays me, you know, that kind of thing. Who is the first person who was nice to you despite your humble beginnings? And originally, I was definitely going to go with Don Diego, but now that Espalda is somewhat in this picture too, I'm not sure who I should go with. Like, do I go with the lovely old gentleman who's trying to shelter me and teach me and guide me to being a better person, or should I go with Espalda, who definitely has a hard side, but is trying so hard to capture me? This is a hard thing.
Which will it be?
Oh no.
Are these the two suitors, the two pulls on your life? Even if Don Diego necessarily isn't necessarily a romantic suitor, he is a suitor who wishes to be an influence over you.
If that's fine with both of them, I think that would work very well.
I absolutely want to steer you away from the evils that Espalda will inevitably direct you toward.
Yeah. It just works. It works great.
Okay.
But seeing as Don Diego has recently returned to the hotel, and Espalda has definitely been here for a while, I think Espalda would be the first person who was nice to me, though Don Diego has recently also picked up the trend.
Excellent. All right. We are going to take a 10-minute break. When we come back, we are going to talk about some of the setup. We're going to talk about previously on. I'm going to have you describe when we go to the opening credits, how you stand when the camera comes in on you. And then we're going to roll into play. So we'll take it to 5 after the hour, and we will return.
Okay.
All right. So we're about to begin. We're going to do some setup on that. Before we do, I want to go through the lines of veils as they're established right now, and get those on the table. Let me check one thing. Get that in. One of the other things I'll mention is mechanically, there's an additional move for the game for the hotel. It's when you check the security tapes to find out who was at a location at a certain time. So that is the additional move on there. So right now, our lines are harm to animals, harm to children, racism, sexual assault, slavery, and suicide. And did we want to mark homophobia as a line?
I'm fine either way. I just wanted to check before
Okay.
we started.
Well, I hear it. I saw a yes, please. So let's add that in as a line on there. And then for veil, eye injuries, sexual content. So when people embrace, we fade to black, and torture. So those are our things that are on the table. So I've also added some pictures on the NPC tab. We have our essentially maitre d' for the hotel, Alma La Casa. We have our security person, Santino Pinto. We have a long-term aged guest, Ephraim Sanchez. And then the woman who is arriving, Elena Galindo. There is a big wedding. It's an important wedding. This is going to be a centerpiece moment for the hotel. Lots of wealthy guests. This is an important chance to raise the hotel's stakes. And Elena used to work here, and she's kind of a firebrand. And you're not sure exactly why she's coming back, who she's associated with, but she will be a bomb thrown into the middle of things. And then I've got a picture of Julio there, so I've added those. So we're going to go through and again, as we go along, feel free to establish things in the fiction about who you are, other NPCs, things like that. We kind of know who has a claim on the hotel. We know who's involved in the day-to-day business. So we go through and we see the previously on La Rosa, Querida, and so in that opening sequence, the previously on for you, Espalda, what is it that we see for the last time on?
How many tabs? All right. Last time on. Let's see. The cash. I think I'm going to go with. I'm going to take, you took over a business or political seat as interim leader.
So what did we see? What is the shot that we see of that?
I think that we see we're in some sort of, magistratal building, some sort of, governmental building. And we see seated are all of these dignified older men up on a seats up there, and one of them in the middle is saying, I look forward to maintaining control of the town as your mayor. And one of the others stands up and says, but sir, haven't you heard? And the camera kind of swings over as I come striding in.
Doors flinging open, right?
We have a new interim there.
Excellent. And then LaDonna, what do we see for you the last time on?
I think last time I comforted someone in their time of need and meant it.
Okay.
I
Who
think
was that? Yeah.
I think Don Diego went through some like a rough patch last episode, and it ended up with like him alone in the bar, and like I joined him, and we just like had like a long time. Like, well, remember those good old days when we were kids, and like how nice things were before he had to run off and stuff.
A shared moment, eye contact, something that seems to speak of more past history, of a stronger connection than we've seen before on the show.
Yeah.
Don Diego, what's the last time on we saw for your character?
Well, how fitting. I was thinking that it was you spilled a piece of your sordid past, tears in your eyes.
And what is it you spoke about?
Adonia, I know it was an accident. But still, the gurgle, the look in his eyes as he passed, knowing that it could have been prevented if only he hadn't charged me with the knife out.
It was for the best. It was for the best, Diego.
Was it?
Yes. He was a bad man, and the world is better off without him.
But am I any better?
Maybe not, but I think the world will be worse off when you go, and that's all we can really hope for.
You're a better friend than I deserve, LaDonia. Here, let us raise our glasses to long friendships.
To long friendships.
I have a question. This is the thing. What do you suppose was that dead person's relationship to you, Dolores, that you have not revealed to Diego? Boyfriend? Brother? Something else?
I think he was my illegitimate brother.
Oh, good. Thank you. Probably see as you go to pay, your wallet falls open and we see a picture of that same actor there in your wallet. Alejandra, what was your last time on?
Well, I believe I intercepted a letter meant for LaDonia because she was out and someone had to take the mail. And
What kind of letter?
Oh yeah. It's fragranced. Someone has clearly spritzed it with lovely perfume. The writing is beautiful on it, and I think it's actually from Elena. It's some sort of letter from Elena.
Ooh, and you have accidentally not yet given it to her?
Well, I mean, she was out late. She's getting old. I don't want to disturb her until after she's had at least 2 cups of espresso,
Perfect. And I think then we would cut to the scene of the first guests arriving to the hotel, and we see that shot of Elena getting out, and we see some shots of the partying, and then we see a shadowed figure. We see them in the private parking lot. We see them opening the door, and we see them with one gloved hand opening a glove compartment and putting a gun in that glove compartment and then shutting it with a click. And then we cut to the La Rosa Querida, and we begin a shot of the hotel. We kind of come in. They bought a drone so they can do that nice aerial come in shot. Marble and seafoam. We see people walking in and out, and then it cuts to the shot La Espalda. What do we see? How's the pose for La Espalda when we come to you, the actress there? They shoot you. What do we see?
I think that I'm standing there looking properly fierce and serious. Black leather pants and leather and silk shirt, looking dramatic and clearly serious.
Absolutely. Arms crossed. You're
Mhm.
not giving a flick or twist or anything. We turn, we see the sea, we can swing over the beaches, we see the cliffside, we hear the pop of champagne, and we see people by the pool. And then Dolores, what is the shot we get of you for your title introduction there for your character?
Dolores is sitting on her balcony in the morning, like overlooking the hotel, just drinking a cup of espresso and, just watching everyone.
Absolutely, that shot of her deep in contemplation. They then turn and we get a shot, and we go through the laundry room. There's just steam and chaos, and it goes into the kitchen, and the plates being served and people yelling. And then we cut to the shot of Alejandra. Alejandra, what do we see of you?
Alejandra has taken one of the treats that her sister Maria brought that morning. She has it on a plate, and it's clearly a plate meant for La Donna, and she has the letter in her hand, and she's not sure if she's going to put it on the plate to take to La Donna.
And then we cut and we see a shot, just sort of a generic shot of someone lifting up a mattress and stuffing a stack of crisp bills under it and pulling a knife out. And then we cut, and what's the sort of the glamour pose we see for Don Diego here?
I'm barefoot in a linen suit, walking along the beach, staring into the far distance as seagulls wheel and cry overhead.
Absolutely. Espalda, what has gone wrong already with the wedding? What is the chaos in the hotel right now?
I think catering. We had arranged to have people bring in the cake and the sweet end of the catering, and I've heard that all of that is that entire company somehow has fallen apart.
Absolutely. What would you do?
Oh, this is I imagine that.
Are you in your office, or where? When we come in, when you get that news, where are you? What do we see?
Yeah, I'm in the office there, and we see me. There's one of the members of staff in front of me.
Uh-huh.
This is ridiculous. Do you know how bad this will make this hotel look?
Mr. Rosa, I just received the news. I brought it to you as quickly as I could.
How could this happen? We arranged for the very best, and now we've already paid them.
Yes, we have. It's my understanding.
Someone is behind this.
And your phone rings.
Get out.
Yes, she runs.
Hello.
Ah, Mayor de Rosa.
Yes. Do I recognize the voice?
It's the former mayor.
Oh.
Cicada. I was so sorry to hear that there was some problems with the catering for your event.
Calling to gloat.
Oh no, it saddens me that my brother's business would not have been able to provide such things for you. Perhaps you'll find someone else on such short notice.
Don't think I'm going to forget this, Cicada.
I wouldn't expect any less of you. Click. Your gang members are looking at you. They're like, what do we do, boss? What do you want?
It's not a surprise Cicada would make some move. We'll have to make sure that he learns that is an error.
Who is your lieutenant? Who is your he or she? Who is that?
I think my chief lieutenant is it's going to be the smartest one of the bunch. Okay. So it's she is someone that kind of came up with me, has really always been the person who would, most devoted. And let's call her Juanita.
And Juanita would be beautiful, but for the scar that crosses her face. And she says, Jefe, do you want us to go and take care of this situation? You have only to say the word yes.
I want you to prove to Cicada that it is not a good idea to cross us. Why not visit his brother?
Absolutely. All right. When you send them to extract pain or money, roll with the questions. You think this is an easy job? What would you think?
Well, they're going over there to certainly get our money back. But it depends. I wouldn't think that it'd be very hard unless someone's expecting me to do it.
So let's say it's an easy job.
Okay.
And is your crew in good health?
I think here at the start they are.
Okay. And are you keeping your hands clean? I'm sorry. Are you taking control of the situation? That's I got the wrong one there.
Oh, okay.
So yes is the answer to that one.
Yes, I think so.
Then you will roll with a +3.
+3, you say. All right. So 2. All right. I'll take the submitted.
Okay.
That gives me an 11.
Okay. On a 10+, I think that we will cut to a shot of Juanita and gang, and we see like a daughter kind of running to answer the door, and the door opens, and we see Juanita, and she's there. Little girl, is your daddy home? And we'll cut later to Juanita dropping a stack of cash on your desk, and probably a shot of the mayor at the hospital next to his brother's hospital bed. Who did this? No one. I fell. I fell down the stairs. No one did this to me, brother. And let me come to Dolores. Dolores, this is going on. You're now just hearing about the catering, but what other complication has arisen here at the hotel?
I think the groom has vanished.
And and so we will come to you, and we see one of the desk clerks comes and says, Miss Negrente, I have just heard word that they are unable to find the groom. The rehearsal dinner is tonight, and his friends went to check on him, but he is not there.
These foolish children. All right, has anyone told the bride?
No, as I understand it, the groom's family is attempting to keep a lid on it, but some of our people overheard the conversation.
All right, I will speak with them. I will track down this idiot and bring them back before we have a scandal.
Absolutely. So what would you do, Dolores?
I think I'm going to. I'm gonna go talk to the best man.
Okay. And you will find the best man kind of clearly organizing some stuff out by the pool. The sun is beating down. He has a mimosa there, and he's kind of talking. And he's probably seen you at a distance, knows who you are. And when you approach, he stands. Madam?
Hello. You seem to be failing in your duties.
I'm drinking as much as I can. I don't know what else you want from me.
Generally, best men are expected to actually bring the groom to the ceremony.
What yes, what is it you mean? What have you heard?
He's missing. No one can find the groom, and we have hours before we have a scandal.
We are doing our best to locate him. The bachelor party went into the late hours, but we did bring him back to the hotel.
Listen, I will cover this up. I will make sure that no one finds out about this whole disaster and you can all go back to your happy lives. But first, you need to tell me exactly what happened and where this fool might have wandered off to. And I'm demanding what I deserve.
Oh, absolutely. So, are you offering something of value in return?
I'm gonna help cover it up, so I think so.
Yeah. I don't think they love you in this moment. Are you keeping your hands clean, would you say?
I think so. I haven't done anything illegal or shameful yet.
Absolutely. So let's have you roll with a +2.
Got an 8.
Got an 8. So on a hit, the target of your demand chooses 1. So I think he says, I have an idea of where he might be. So let me go and look for him. And he stands up, and kind of bows and goes to head out. But as he does, he kind of drops something out from his hands. As he drops his cash on it, and you will look and see that he has one of Elena's business cards.
Ooh. Okay.
Does that seem like a fair thing you find there?
I think so, yes.
Okay. It's a bright, beautiful day, Don Diego. What business do you have on your plate for this day?
Breakfast on the terrace, a leisurely stroll along the beach, perhaps an early lunch, depending on how soon I wish to start drinking tequila. I have an appointment with the sunset. It's particularly lovely at this time of year. And then I'll adjourn to the bar.
And so you are out on the beach, and you just as dawn is kind of coming up, and you will see a gentleman in how do I put this? A young man in clearly going out on the town clothes, and he is being set upon by 2 ruffians, like they are working him over, oof, punch to the stomach, oof, across the face, and so on. And they are clearly going to drag him and maybe even throw him out into the surf here.
How unfortunate for them.
What do you do?
I twist the handle of my cane and draw my sword. Unhand him, ruffians, or I shall run you through.
I think that is striking out at someone with a voice.
Oh, sure, why not?
Does that seem right?
That or taking a stand.
I can handle either one. Let's that's your personal move. So let's do that one.
All right. So I'm clearly stepping in to defend someone.
Absolutely.
And the law is being broken, so that's a yes.
Yep. And you're handling things head on.
Okay. Yeah, because it says I'm supposed to roll the 2 questions. Are you trying to impress them, and is the law being broken?
And you always ask your personal question as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, so the law is being broken. There's one. My personal question, this definitely handling things head on without guile. That's 2. But I don't think I'm trying to impress them because I don't even know them.
Perfect. Let's have you roll.
I did not do this setup like I normally do. 2 seconds. That is a 7 plus 2, so that's a 9.
That is a 9, and the 9 result for that is hold 1. What do you want to do?
All righty. Flipping back over. I think I'll take +1 on striking out with violence against someone who's threatening harm.
So they hear you, and they hesitate. And if you wish to follow up, it looks like they have not made the strategic choice of letting go, because you just look at an old man, and maybe in the light of this, they haven't noticed the sword cane. So do you want to give them a thrashing?
A gentleman should always give them one last chance to surrender and cease their unlawful activities. So let's go over to the basic moves, because I think at that point, I'm already taking a stand.
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes, is that striking out at somebody, or is there?
I would say striking out at somebody, and you can use that +1 if you want.
I've caught them off guard. I'm acting straightforwardly and without guile. And considering that they haven't listened, I think they've just wronged me.
Yeah. Max is a +3, so let's have you roll with a +3.
All right. And that is a 10.
That is a 10.
+3.
So you can, you will land and you will give them a condition. They will back off and run. You can, because you got a 10+, you can also take something from them or avoid marking a condition.
So the condition that they now have is utter cowards.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're terrified. And suddenly this older gentleman comes and the sword flashes out, and they stagger back and go to run. Now, do you take something from them, or do they land a blow on you? Or
I would like to suggest a slight modification of taking something from them.
Sure.
Perhaps something drops out of their clothing that might present some sort of clue as to why they were beating this gentleman.
That is perfect. So yeah, that you will see one of them drops clearly a photograph with some notes written on the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you do then, because you get that, you do have to mark a condition.
Right. So what can do now? That's one of the conditions on the stress track.
Yeah. So which one would you mark there?
I think I'm going to mark driven.
Okay. This gentleman you've rescued he's kind of trying to get himself up from the sand, and he's like, "Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you."
Take your time. It's not easy to recover from a beating like that.
Oh, I just it does not help the amount of drink I had last night. And he goes to stand up.
I smile gently and help him to his feet. I was young once as well. I remember such nights.
I must make my way back to the hotel. My name is Victor. Thank you very much.
Please allow me to escort you. I'm headed back there myself for breakfast. Perhaps you'll join me.
Certainly, if you're offering, sir. Yes.
A gentleman would do no less.
And you will pick up the picture, and you can see in what looks to be a fairly distinctive handwriting. You don't recognize it, but you know if you see it again, you'll be able to see it. And it has Victor's picture, and written on the back is essentially $5,000 if he is unable to make the wedding.
My face darkens at that note. Clearly, there's a sinister plot afoot. Someone is interfering with the course of true love. I cannot let this stand.
I'm going to cut from there to Alejandra. Alejandra, there's chaos back here. You know, the wedding preparations are going on. It's noisy. They're having people do all of these things, and now there's screaming about the catering and so on. But you are called by Alma La Casa, essentially the maitre d', the concierge, and she has a difficult job for you. What is it?
I think I'm in charge of finding a company to do the wedding cake. Like, I have to go out and find someone who's willing to do all the catering as soon as possible.
Absolutely. She goes, we'll take care of the other desserts, but you need to get the cake. We need some kind of cake tonight for the rehearsal, and then we need the cake by tomorrow for the wedding.
Oh.
What's your relationship with Alma? Does she like you, not like you? Are you put upon? What do you think?
I think she's a little intimidating to me because she's been here longer than I have, and she hasn't always approved that Dolores brought in a stray from the streets. She considers the hotel kind of reputable
urchin?
Still. Yes. Yeah.
She goes, you know the streets around here, so you should be able to find a cake person.
I will do my best, ma'am.
And she sets you off. She gives you the hotel credit card.
Ooh.
What would you do? Would you go talk to somebody? How does this work? What steps would you take?
I think first I need to know what kind of cake we were supposed to have. So I go and I talk to the chef so I can figure out which kind of cake I'm supposed to have so I don't like accidentally bring back an almond cake and kill everybody or something like that. You know, that's kind of a bad thing. And then after that, I need to look at a map and find who's closest and most reputable.
Well, let's start with the chef.
Yes.
Because this chef is the chef, and all of the cooks here are freaking out
Yes.
because suddenly there's demands for pastry and other things that they weren't prepared for, that they haven't laid in for. And so you walk into the heat and chaos and steam of the kitchen. What is the chef's name?
Um,
Or I can give you a name.
Please give me a name. I'm very bad.
Dante.
Dante.
Chef Dante. Chef Dante is there, and he is red-faced and sweat covered, and he is a living force of shouting here. So how do you approach him?
I approach him as I am trying to take some pressure off of you. I need to know what kind of cake we were supposed to have so I can go and get this thing so we can have this wedding and be rich afterwards.
Let's have you mislead, distract, or trick. I think you're trying to draw his attention, trying to get him to answer you.
Okay.
So what's your first your personal question is?
Oh, 1 second. I've scrolled away.
That's okay.
Am I in over my head?
Yes.
Probably, yes.
Yes, you are.
I would say that's pretty fair. Is there pressure for them to act the right way? Yes, because if they tell me the wrong cake, it's going to be very obvious that something went wrong and potentially death if allergies are involved.
Okay.
Do they think you've been honest with them? I would say most likely yes, because
Okay,
I am
that
the
seems-
odd job girl around the hotel.
Yes, you're the drudge that the other people send, so he knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's roll with a +3.
So that's an 8 plus 3 is 11. Yay!
11. So he goes, yes. Go to my office. The specifications are there. There's a whole folder there with the notes that when I sat down. They were most demanding in their specifications. But go there and you will see it. And go to his office and you will find a folder with the essentially a sketch of the wedding cake and the details about the 3 different tiers and a chocolate, vanilla, and then we've got the strawberry, kind of filling in between, and this color of fond and all of that kind of stuff.
Yep. I take that with me.
Okay. And you will head out into the town. Do you know someone who can do this?
I may not, but my little sister buys all the best sweets in the town, all the best patisserie. So I would probably try and get her in on this.
All right. So you will find Maria. She is there. She's sister. She comes and gives you a big hug, and she's very excited. She said, there are so many of these wedding guests around, and they've been so good. I've been running little errands for them and getting them flowers and so on, and tomato juice and all kinds of things, and aspirin. A lot of the men, so yes, I've been running around on that. So it's a very, very good day. I might be able to buy some more candy tonight.
Oh, excellent. Would you like to definitely be able to buy candy tonight? You can help the hotel in a very large way.
I would definitely like to have candy. That is for certain.
Aha! I need to find the best cake maker in town.
The best cake maker?
Yeah.
Well, that
Really
is
quick, too.
a Senora Navarro. But she used to be, but she doesn't make cakes anymore for just anyone.
I see. And your second option, just so I have it before I.
She says, Senora Colazzo, maybe.
Okay. I will make sure you get candy tonight. No worries.
Well, yes. Now that I've given you secrets, yes.
The best
And-
secrets.
She's told you the choice of which way you want to head here. Do you want to go to Colazzo, who you probably make the cake. It's not going to be that great. Or Navarro, where if you can convince her to make the cake, it will be spectacular.
I'm gonna go with Navarro. This is the hotel's big gamble. We need to impress the entire country.
Absolutely.
Dolores, we have to.
And we will see you heading off into town. We probably see at least one shadowy figure watching you go.
I'm so used to it by now. It's my brother following me everywhere that I don't even notice.
Let's come back to Espalda. Let's have you call a scene with a named NPC or with one of the PCs. Where do we want to find you now? What does he want to do?
I think probably good to have a scene between Dolores and I.
Okay. Where do you find Dolores?
Dolores, would it make sense that are you in your rooms, or would you be somewhere out in the hotel?
I think it's well known. I sort of like hold court in like an on-premise cafe. Like I have a table, and everyone knows it's my table.
Excellent. All right. So I think then we see me come striding in, and I'm clearly
all crystal and linen and whites and beautiful. All the light coming in, the beautiful long tall glasses filled with the clink of things you come through. The black vested waitress will lead you back to the table. How are you dressed?
How am I dressed?
Yes, how are you dressed?
All business, and I tend towards blacks with leather accent, but definitely all business.
Okay, and you will see Dolores there, and you can address her or seat yourself immediately.
I will have quickly left whoever was seating me behind. I'm just sort of moved right on, stomped right on past him. And will, as I get to the table, nod to Dolores and sit myself without waiting for an invitation.
Hello, Espalda. I see you still don't have time for etiquette.
Well, business sometimes has to trump politeness, I suppose. There's been a problem with the wedding.
Another one?
Another one?
Oh, yeah, of course you haven't heard. The groom is missing.
Oh, jeez me. Missing how, Dolores?
No one's seen him since the bachelor party.
I will send someone to look for him. It almost makes trivial that our caterer suddenly decided to no longer fulfill our orders.
He what?
I suspect that Cicada had something to do with this.
Please tell me you didn't have the man assaulted.
Cicada? Of course not.
No, the baker.
My dear Dolores, I can't imagine what you're talking about. I merely went to get our deposit returned to us. Well, sent someone to speak, I'm sure quite reasonably.
For a woman trying to stay clean, you have a bizarre habit of falling in the mud.
Dolores, the problem that's happened with this hotel is too many people felt they could steal from it.
There will be consequences. No one
Perhaps
steals from me. But
I am hoping the staff is in an uproar to find us a suitable replacement wedding cake. As you know, there was considerable expense paid for this cake. It can't be made quickly, at least not well.
yes, who was sent out on that? Who's handling that?
I'm not sure. I sent the general manager down to handle it. I'm sure Surely he's competent enough to handle that.
One would hope.
But the groom, you say he's missing.
Yes, I will make sure that he is found. Just try to keep your own people away from this. We're trying to avoid a scandal, not cause one.
All right. Dolores, if we don't find him soon, though, it may be my people that can find him best.
I see.
There's plenty of money involved, and where there's money involved, well, the worst sorts will go after it. I would hate to imagine that some street scum has taken him in hopes of money.
This is about more than money. This is about honor, respectability. Our names are on the line here.
Yes.
Money comes and goes, but respect, that's far harder to obtain. And
Donna Dolores, I knew there was a reason we went into business together. We are women of one mind.
Let's cut there. Let me do a scene with Don Diego, and then let me come back to you, Dolores. Is that okay? Okay. Don Diego, I think we cut to essentially like a poolside table, kind of off a little bit away. This gentleman is kind of eating hungrily from here.
Eat some more bread. You need to soak up the alcohol.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate this very much. Don Diego, was it?
Yes. And here, have some of the mimosa. It's as strange as it may seem to sound, a little bit of alcohol will help with the hangover, but just a little bit now.
Oh, okay. And he drinks a little bit. He says, I appreciate this. It seems like it's nice to have someone to speak to who's not involved with the wedding.
Well, I've been involved with weddings before, so I completely understand why you say that. Tell me, do you know why those men were beating you?
He looks off like he knows. See him take his finger, kind of bites at his knuckle for a bit, and I have a suspicion.
You can trust me. I'm a gentleman and I keep confidences very well.
I think that someone is afraid that I will convince the bride not to marry this lout.
And why would you do that?
Because I love her. Because she loves me. And this wedding is a sham, is a farce.
Is she in a certain way? Is it because she's marrying for money or political station?
Her family has long had this wedding in mind, an alliance of two great families. And she's so put upon, she cannot turn away from these demands. But he is a brute and a scoundrel, and I cannot bear the thought of my Amaya married to him. What would you do, Don Diego? You're a man of the world.
I can see that your words are true. Only a craven coward would send ruffians to do the work that he should do with his own hands. But I suspect his hands have never been dirty a day in his life, have they?
I do not know about that. There are rumors about him, but not that he has done things.
Such men do not frighten me. And
He
were
has-
I in your shoes,
Yes.
if I were acting for true love,
Yes.
there is nothing I would not do to have even one more day with her. In your case, grand gestures such as intervening at the wedding, speaking up when the preacher asks if anyone has any words they would like to say. I think these things would be dangerous for you. Instead, were I you,
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest an elopement.
But Maya is watched. They know there are those amongst the family who suspect. I do not know if I will be able to do such a thing. But
But tell me, young Victor,
yes,
and I smile, do they watch the windows? And do they know where all the ladders in the hotel are?
perhaps not.
After all, why would anyone be so foolish as to place a ladder by the window, especially with such steep cliffs nearby? That seems reckless, dangerous even.
Do you know where the ladders are kept?
My dear young Victor, I'm afraid I have absolutely no idea that the ladders are kept in an external storehouse. And it is locked. And I also have no idea where the key for such a thing would be.
That is too
Here I-
bad.
Here I lift up my coffee cup. And it just so happens that there was a small key that looks like it goes to a padlock underneath it. And I smile.
He looks at you with that kind of shock of, who are you? And he says, Don Diego, I will never forget your assistance.
Be careful, it can be windy. If you should need someone to hold a ladder, it might be the case that I could take a constitutional around, say, 11 o'clock tonight.
I will speak with you again, Don Diego.
Be well, my young Victor. Vaya con Dios.
And he will rise, and he has that look of determination glint in his eye as he heads off with the padlock key. Dolores, what is your next step here?
I think just moments after, sorry, David, was it? Or sorry, who was that Don Diego talking to?
That was Victor.
Victor, sorry. I think moments after Victor walks out, I approach Don Diego and like, Diego, we have a rather sensitive situation that I need your expertise with.
Please, sit. I wave for more coffee.
Or
I hold it in my hands and I don't quite drink, just sort of like soaking in the warmth. I'm afraid the groom for today's or tomorrow's wedding has gone missing.
Oh, that seems less than fortuitous.
Indeed, this, I gently stir the cup. This may be the end of the hotel. I need this situation resolved if we are to keep our good names and what shreds of our reputation we have left. I need you to find this missing man and bring him back here. And above all, I need you to be discreet.
Do you have a picture of him?
Yes. I bring out like the save the date for the wedding, which had a picture of the couple on the top.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's the man, and please, I do not know if I have any favors I can call in with you, but if our old friendship means anything for you, I need you to find this man and bring him back.
It may be the case that I also have to ask a favor of you in the future. So, this thing, I will find this groom for you, and I will return him to the hotel. And a gentleman never breaks his oath.
Something doesn't seem quite right about how Don Diego is talking. I'm gonna try to spot something out of place.
That seems fair. I do think we already established that last night you two were drinking and talking in the bar, so I think that's yes to the intimate question. Do you think you're free of other distractions?
I think when I'm talking to Don Diego, he's the only thing on my mind.
Interesting. So let's give you another +1 on that. And what is your default question?
Are you keeping your hands clean? I'm
I
sending
think
someone.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, you're sending me out. It's not like you're sending one of Espalda's thugs out.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's have you roll with +3 on spot something out of place. There's almost no chance you could fail.
I got an 8.
You may ask one question.
What are you planning?
I'm planning to find the groom and return him to the hotel. I am planning to do exactly what I said I would. No more, no less.
I think that's a fair answer. Does that seem fair to you? Does that
Yeah, that sounds fair. I think it says on a hit I asked 2 questions, but he gets to ask one of me.
Oh, that's right. So what is your second question?
How does your character feel about the wedding?
Oh, interesting.
I don't know terribly much about it, but it seems that any groom who would disappear on the night of the rehearsal dinner and the rehearsal wedding might not be worthy of a bride.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is your question you wish to ask back, Don Diego?
If the wedding wasn't to happen, how could I help restore the good name of the hotel to protect La Doña?
Oh.
So I'm not sure that fits in with the spot something out of place there. You've got 5 questions to choose from.
My bad.
No, that's okay.
Let me flip over to the basic moves. Spot something out of place.
I'm so used to hard to rule in when we make them up, but this is a little more constrained.
Yeah. Okay. How could I get your character to care less about the outcome of the wedding?
Interesting.
You'd have to give me some way to either cover up the scandal or like distance me from the scandal. Make sure the scandal doesn't reflect back on me or the hotel.
Need cover up or
Mostly me.
cover for La Doña.
That seems fair.
Totally fair.
Let's cut from you to you, Alejandra, in a not great part of town. And you will find yourself walking up these side steps to this household. And you can see that there are a number of cats asleep in the sun out on the landing. And you will knock, and you will hear, "Who is it?"
I am Alejandra. I'm with oh gosh, what's the name of the hotel? I've totally forgotten.
La Rosa.
I'm with La Rosa, the hotel. We need your services desperately.
Woman comes over, opens the door. It smells like baking in here. And she says, what is it that you need?
A wedding cake.
I do not make wedding cakes anymore. And she goes to shut the door.
I stop her. Please, madam, you're the only one who could do this, and our whole reputation falls on this hotel, and if this fails, I don't know what my family will do, and I don't know what the owners will do, and it's just, please, you're the only one who could do this.
I think this is demanding what you deserve. I think you're demanding her assistance. You are pressuring her. So let's look at the questions.
Am I offering something in return? And a value in return? I mean, I am going to pay her, so that's valuable. She probably really doesn't love me in this moment unless she has a soft spot for desperation and loyalty.
Okay. So no?
No. Okay. And I'm definitely in over my head, like so over my head.
Let's have you roll with a +2.
Okay. A 10.
What option do you want to remove of her 3 options?
Oh no. I want to take away her refusal.
She's not very well going to run away. You've already blocked her from that escape. She says, very well, but it will cost you.
Of course, madam. Of course. Whatever you ask.
Do you mean that?
There's only so much money from the hotel I can give, but if you have something
I don't
wish,
want money.
Then what do you ask for, madam? I can only give what you ask for.
I will bake this cake, and when I come to you to ask for something, you will give it to me.
It is for the hotel. I must.
Do you have the details?
I hand her the folder.
She flips through it. This is too much. This is inelegant and tacky.
I am inclined to agree, but it's what was requested. Perhaps you could.
I will give them a cake, and it will appear to be what they wish, but it will be better.
I have no doubt in my mind that you will bring this cake to levels that we have never seen before.
Return here at 5, and I will have the wedding rehearsal cake ready, and tomorrow return again, and I will have the final cake ready.
I will be here. Thank you so much.
Who sent you to me?
My little sister, Maria. She goes to all the bakeries and finds the best ones.
Oh, I do know her. She is a dear. Oh, so you share the same mother then?
Yes.
More's the pity for you.
No.
And she takes a folder and she turns to say something to you, and she shuts the door. And you hear the sound of pots being pulled out of drawers and things and preparations being made.
I pull out my cell phone because I'm assuming I have one.
Oh, absolutely.
I call, I think I called Dolores because this will be the most important thing for her.
Okay. Dolores, you've just finished up this conversation that you've had. and you see your good broken bird Alejandra calling you on the cell phone.
Alejandra, are you all right?
I am fine, and I have the cake. I went to the best baker in town, Madame Navarro, excuse me.
Navarro,
She's agreed. She will have the rehearsal cake done today at 5, and I must return tomorrow to pick up the actual cake. But it is done.
You convinced Madame Navarro to make both wedding cakes?
Yes.
Whatever you promised her, it was well worth it. I knew you had the seeds of greatness in you when I brought you onto the hotel.
Thank you, Madame. I hope it is enough for you.
Oh, you have always been more than enough. You are a treasure. Thank you.
It will all be worth it in the end.
And you can return back to the hotel. You still got things to do, right?
I got lots of stuff to do.
Excellent. Espada, our El Jefe, what is your next step? What next business do you have to take care of?
Well, I suppose I'm looking into, well, I was told not to look into missing fiance groom.
Yeah, someone told you not to do something?
Yeah. So I better look into
Do you listen to me?
missing groom. My mind immediately is going to go to someone is, something horrible. Someone's trying to use this to their advantage, sort of thing. So I'm going to begin making discreet calls to find out if anyone has seen or heard this. Is he particularly well known? What do we know of Groom?
I would say that the groom is the eldest son of a very well-placed, very wealthy local family, and this marriage is one of alliance, and that you probably know what he looks like and so on.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to play on this mayor thing, and rather than sending off, Dolores was very clear she didn't want my people looking into it. So I'm going to call the chief of police.
Ah, Madam Mayor.
Chief, or whatever it would be called. I don't know that.
Don Rubio.
Don Rubio. Don Rubio. I hope all is well with you.
It is fine. It is good. Some celebrations in the hotel that got out of hand, as I understand it, but things are as they are. How can I be of assistance to our new interim mayor?
Well, I call for two reasons. First, I absolutely believe that our local policia have not been adequately taken care of during past administrations. I think it's a long time since there were proper raises given, especially for senior officers.
I like the sound of this. This seems like a particularly perceptive statement on your part.
I intend to bring that up at the next council meeting. I definitely want to make sure that you and your men are, very well satisfied with the administration going forward.
Absolutely. We would certainly would look forward to that. I mean, we take care of many things. Just this morning, we had an incident where the poor mayor's brother was injured and an accident, and our police force were speedily on hand and able to deliver him to the hospital without incident.
I'm glad to hear. It is a shame when accidents happen.
It is. What is it that you need?
Well, you mentioned a little rowdiness amongst some of the patrons of the hotel. Well, we've carelessly misplaced one of them.
And who would that be in particular?
And I'll give his name. You can understand the sensitivity of this matter.
It so happens that I might have a man on site who might know where your missing groom is.
Well, then, Chief, I expect that your professionalism and capabilities will soon discover the location. I don't suppose you need any local assistance in, let's say, searching him out.
Well, my man is simply there to observe and photograph and document the matter. May I suggest that you check the Sunrise Suite, which you will recognize as the suite that Elena is in.
You're saying that someone there would be aware of his location?
I think I'm suggesting the situation is perhaps even more direct.
I see. Thank you, Don.
It is nothing. It is nothing. We will speak again.
Yes, indeed.
And what would you do?
All right, so he's, just so I can clarify all the innuendo, he's saying Elena had him take it off?
No, he's saying that that the young man is in Elena's suite right now.
And Elena is not the bride?
No.
Ooh. Oh, I think I had thought that. Oh, dearie. Oh, that's not good. This could cause quite a big to-do, just storming in there.
Yes.
So there is someone I know that can go into pretty much all of the rooms and would have good reason to, and would certainly not attract over much attention. I need to be certain that that he's there. So I'm going to push the button there on my desk for whatever secretary and say, excuse me, can you ask Alejandra if she can come to the office, please?
She's just returned. I can send her right up.
Ah, thank you.
So let's roll into Alejandra. You've come back. You've just returned back. Alejandra, Madame de Rosa just buzzed down. She wants you to go up to her office.
Of course, I will be there immediately. Run.
Up there, you see a couple of the people who hang around her office. They kind of look at you appraisingly as you come by, including that sort of slightly scary, scarred woman that's always here.
I don't make eye contact. There,
Okay.
I'm sure as excuse me, sorry. I almost called you Esmeralda for some reason. I've been thinking of Disney movies. I'm sure Espalda keeps them around for good reason.
Alejandra is here.
I'll go to the door myself and please come in.
Thank you. I've just returned from figuring out our cake situation.
You found someone to make us cake?
I did. Madame Nuevo is now making the cake.
Have I heard the name? Do I know?
Madame Navarro is
Navarro. Gosh.
a legendary baker who crossed the wrong people some years ago. And as a result, her son was killed.
Ooh.
And she hasn't baked for a number of years.
I see. And I imagine I don't have any inkling particularly who the wrong people were, but they kill sons, then they're not very good people, I suppose. That's amazing.
Yes, Dolores was very pleased. So
I bet she was.
what can I do for you?
You're the gift that keeps giving, Alejandra. I'm so glad that you've come here. I can't tell you. Often I feel up here like I'm all alone, like I'm fighting constantly just to hold on. Then I see you and I realize that any fight that I'm doing is worth it.
I don't ever want you to feel alone, Espalda. Is there some way I can ease your burdens? This sounds so difficult to be alone like this.
And I'll lead her over to a chair there in front of the desk and kind of sit on the front of the desk and maybe kind of hold on to your hand. So, you've done so much already, and that's why I hate to ask you, but the Sunset Suite, you know that Miss...
Elena.
Yeah, Elena, Mrs. Galindo, that's it. That is where she is staying. Well, it may shock you to know that some men are not as faithful as they should be. Some men will make false promises to young ladies. And I fear that even if we have the most beautiful cake, if our bride has no groom, it will all be for nothing.
What a terrible thing. It surely can't be true.
I hope not. Which is why, if you could go to Miss Galindo's suite, check to see if she needs anything. But if you could tell me if there's a man there, we will have to do a bit of marriage counseling, if that's the case. But I do need to know.
Well, Elena was originally from the hotel, so I could take her a bottle of wine for old time's sake. And
that's a lovely idea.
Serve it on the terrace, because the sunset room is obviously meant to look over the sunset and the beautiful, beautiful sea.
It is remarkable. You're not just beautiful, you're also brilliant.
Oh, you should not say such things.
So
And
sorry. Do you? I think a move might be getting triggered here.
Oh, no. No, go ahead.
I think that is express your love passionately. And then we'll come to you, Kyle. So Tyler, would you say that your character is dressed to impress?
I always feel like I'm fairly well dressed to impress. I'm in my black leather and silk.
Does Alejandra believe that you're single?
Yes. I mean,
I am.
Espalda just said that she feels so alone in the world. If you had someone who loved you by your side all the time, you would not feel that way.
And are you taking control of the situation, Espalda?
I kind of think so in a couple of ways. I'm taking control of what's going on here in the hotel, and I'm sort of taking control of this, expressing myself here.
Perfect. Then let's have you roll.
All right.
Oh, no.
That is a 10.
Okay. So on a hit, which this is, your target gives themselves to you or reveals a secret they probably shouldn't. And on a 10 plus, they also tell you whether they love you or not. And if not, who else they love.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
So this is your response, Alejandra.
Oh gosh.
Boy, that's a lot out of one move.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. Telling someone you love them is one of the most powerful moves in this game.
I think very gently Alejandra entwines fingers with Espalda, and that's as far as she's going to get because there's things that need to be done. But she's completely star-eyed. This is just this beautiful older woman who just believes in her so much and loves her so much. It's so overwhelming.
Kyle, you wanted to intervene on the scene. Is that
Yes.
makes sense?
Yes, I decided one of my schemes is keep them apart. I want to keep Espalda and Alejandra apart. So when two characters make a plan to get together or to meet, I learn of them. So I think just as this happens, you hear like the secretary like protesting and footsteps approach, and suddenly the door swings open and I walk in.
Hands pulled apart quickly.
Of course, immediately.
There's just stinger music.
It's inappropriate to do such things with guests.
Hello,
Go on.
Hello, Espalda.
Dolores, what do you want?
I came to check in on how the wedding preparations were going, but I did not realize you were occupied.
Well, it seems that our dear, I'm so bad with names. I'm such a horrible person. Alejandra. Our dear Alejandra has solved one of our problems. Found our cake.
Exactly, and thus she has already contributed far more than you have.
I will sort of pull back a little and Alejandra, I fear that this must be business. I can't imagine that Dolores would have strained herself walking this far. If it weren't, would you, the little matter we talked about, and perhaps later this evening we can discuss it.
Of course, ma'am. I will do this immediately.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will excuse myself as quickly as possible from the room.
I think as soon as you leave, I'm going to like look at you and just look at Espalda and say, look, if you feel anything at all for Alejandra, you will stay away from her and stop your filth from getting over her.
Whoa!
Wow!
So,
wow.
Is this demanding what you deserve, or are you striking out at her with your words?
I think I'm striking out.
Okay. Have you caught them off guard?
I think so.
Have they wronged you?
I think she has. I mean, she's going after a woman in my protection. I mean,
I think that's reasonable. And I don't think you're keeping your hands clean, though.
No.
Let's have you roll with a +2.
Oh, 14. Wow.
So on a hit, your strike lands, and each of you has to mark a condition. Because you roll a 10+, you can choose to take something from them or avoid marking that condition.
I think I'm going to take something from them.
Why don't you negotiate about what you could take?
I
Just muted yourself, dear.
Oops.
Sorry. I think while you're distracted by these very personal accusations, I'm going to like steal some like financial off your desk. Just something that like says where your assets are, what you're doing.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
And now, Espalda, in your office, this woman has walked in, interrupted this intimate moment, and then said these horrible things to you.
And
what do you do?
I think that I'm marking raging.
Okay.
And I'm going to move up. I once she said this, I sort of turned and stalked back, kind of away for a moment, probably giving you the chance to snag something there before I turn back around and stalk over to you very determinedly, and I get just right close to you. Dolores, I am going to warn you once. I came and saved this hotel for you, but you are not necessary for this hotel's survival. Cross me, and you will regret it.
Can I just say I want to use keys to the castle on this conversation?
Absolutely. Yes. We'll have you roll with that just at the end of the scene, but thank you for marking that. Are you striking out, Tyler? Do you think that threat is striking out with your voice to shake her?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So yes, they've just wronged you, but I do think that she was ready for a response, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're taking control of the situation, and then your condition gives you a +1, so you roll a +3.
I thought only got
because you're +1 from your condition.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I am.
Because you are raging.
I am raging. And so that gives me a 9.
Oh, you both mark a condition.
Okay. I already marked one for the first lashing out when I lashed out. I marked zealous. And now I think I'm going to mark preoccupied.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to take righteous.
Perfect. Does this seem like this kind of breaks up? Maybe that's the simmering like step away. Now let's have you roll keys to the castle.
Oh my God. So yes, I work here. And I imagine what I'm doing is I'm standing there like I've been sent out of the office, but not sent away yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so thoroughly over my head. It's not even funny right now.
And you are dressed to blend in. You have the work uniform on. So let's roll.
That's an 11.
Okay. On a 10+, you get away without being spotted, or you can be spotted and ask the conspirators a follow-up question.
Oh, no.
We're coming to Don Diego, by the way, after this.
I think for Alejandra, it makes more sense for her to get away because she's just so overwhelmed. The two most important women in her life right now are fighting, and they're trying to be protective both in their own ways. And it's just, I can't love, but I need to. And it's just so overwhelming because the hotel's in this crisis, and it's highs and it's low, and I just run.
Perfect.
I go to the sommelier, go find a decent bottle of wine.
Excellent. Don Diego, you have been spoken to by Dolores. She has made a request of you. In the back of your mind of the other situation certainly brewing. What would you do?
Question real quick.
Yeah.
I realize this might be retroactive and it might not be possible.
Sure.
But is there any chance that my interaction with Victor and offering to help him with the ladder at 11 p.m. triggered for your protection?
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a few things to contend with right now. I have to help Ladonia. I need to find the groom, but find the groom in such a way or such a state that the wedding can be called off, or negotiate a different pairing if possible. There's a lot of different options here, but the first thing I'm going to do is go to the police department and talk to my old friend, Chief Rubio.
And you will head down. What is your car like?
Cherry and vintage.
Absolutely.
This is the kind of classic automobile that is featured in car shows, but it is perfectly restored to factory condition. No aftermarket parts, all original. It's chromed, but it's subtle. It's not just glaring. It's like the bumpers they're metal, but they're chrome the way that it used to be. The paint job is something subtle, like seafoam green.
We probably get some beautiful shots of you driving along the cliffs.
Convertible.
Yeah.
My hair.
Yeah, hair tossing in the wind. We see some beautiful shots of that. We haven't reused those from episode to episode. We have.
Never.
We see you pull in front of the police station and walk in, and you see Chief Rubio is speaking with someone there, and he says, Don Diego, to what do I owe this pleasure?
Well, normally it would be a social call, and I'd be asking you to lunch, and certainly we can do that next week. I know you're quite busy and you need a little more notice. But I was hoping you could help me with a small matter that has come to my attention.
Please step into my office. Come and sit. Cigar?
You always do have the best cohibas.
Yes.
How can I say no to such a generous offer?
Please. Now, what is it precisely that you need?
Do you remember when we were young men?
I think of those times often.
Do you remember that girl that you fell in love with back then, Natalia?
I do like tall women, yes.
Do you remember how foolish we were? The escapades we got up to in trying to make sure that you could run away with her.
I remember some escapades, some more romantic and some more dangerous.
We're both getting on in years. And I would like to pass on a kindness to someone who finds themselves in a situation much like that. And I was hoping that perhaps you can help me.
Let me hear what it is you wish.
Have you heard of the missing groom?
It seems that today I've heard of nothing else.
I'm only here about him tangentially because his fiance loves another. And the wedding is one for station and money, not love.
And
I need something that will allow me to convince the groom to call off the wedding so that his bride-to-be may follow her heart and the young man of whom I speak may follow his.
see his eyes narrow. Like this, what you're suggesting is clearly not something he wants to do.
All right, let's see what moves I have at my disposal.
I think spot something out of place might be a good call.
That's all right then. I am reasonably sure I have not been intimate with this person.
Right. You haven't had a chance to
unless
sit
you
down and
consider-
talk with him for a while.
I mean, if you consider lunch being intimate, sure.
I don't think so. We haven't kind of established that in the fiction.
And I think at this point, I'm free of other distractions because this is getting those two together and getting him out of the picture cleanly. That's it.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at.
So we've got +1 for free of other distractions. And then what's your default question?
My default question is, am I handling things head on and without guile?
Don't think that. I think you are kind of going around. You are, however, driven.
And that actually gives me, okay, so we wind up with +2 anyway.
Yeah.
Dice don't fail me now.
Please dice fail him.
That is a 9 on the dice, +2 is an 11.
Okay. So you get to ask 2 questions.
How could I get the chief to do this?
You can tell that, and you can kind of read the situation. Like he clearly knows about this. You know, I mean, you can put 2 and 2 together that people had been looking to find out about this, that the hotel's future kind of rests on this.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's probably gotten a call from one of the 2 ladies who runs it. So if he tells you this, you need to make sure that this doesn't come back on him. You absolutely have to make sure that his info, his name doesn't come into this at all.
A gentleman would never do such a thing. And especially not to such an old friend.
And what is your other question?
What's he hoping to get from this?
He has 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
One is that he would like the mayor, interim mayor, to, provide him with a certain amount of gratuity and assistance. But then also, he's had a man taking some photographs on the scene that he hopes to use in the future for blackmail.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He says, your groom is currently holed up with someone.
Elena Galinda?
Yes. Though perhaps not for very long, since I have already informed the mayor of this situation. I'm sure she is taking steps to deal with it.
The acting mayor.
The interim mayor, if we are being precise about these things.
It is of no importance. She's temporary. Perhaps I can assist you in ensuring that she is more temporary than she otherwise might be.
I don't think you should do that.
It appears you have some advantage already.
I
I
do.
shall leave it at that.
Yes.
As always, old friend, it's good to chat with you.
It is good to chat with you. And when I say I don't want this to blow back on me, I do mean it. It would be unwell for you if certain circumstances were to come to the attention of certain people.
I believe we understand each other.
We have an understanding.
I'll see you next week, my old friend.
I will see you for lunch.
I look forward to it.
We're going to cut from there. We're going to take 5. Let's take 5 for bio, stretch our legs, and then we will come back. All right? All right. We're in the third act. Let's start with Alejandra, since Alejandra is at the center, at the crux of all of this. The sommelier has provided you with a fine bottle of wine, and you head up to the suite.
I do.
Do you have a cart? Are you just carrying this? What is the situation?
I think I have a tray because you don't chill wine in ice or anything, so it wouldn't make sense to have a full cart for just a bottle of wine. And I only take one glass.
Fair enough. And you knock on the door, and it is a few moments, and we were getting on, early afternoon at this point. But it takes a bit, but eventually the door opens, and you will see Elena in what appears to be her bathrobe. She looks flush, and she says, Alejandra, right?
Yes, it's Alejandra. It's an unusual time of day to be getting up to aerobics.
I was just in the shower.
Oh, I see. Is her hair wet?
No.
I see. I've brought you wine for old time's sake, on the house of course. Can I serve you on the balcony?
So you do that thing where she stops and looks back, and she says, "This isn't a very good time."
I assure you, I have seen much worse rooms than what you clearly are worried about.
Do you think this is kind of pushing to kind of trick her to let you in, or do you think this is kind of you trading on your old relationship to kind of force her to acknowledge you and let you in?
I think it's closer to the second one.
Okay.
Because I think she's smart enough to not let me in if there's clearly something she wants to hide. But since I'm just the lowly maid girl, surely I have no influence. Not much has changed since she left, right?
Certainly. So they don't love you in this moment.
No. Are we still using mislead or?
Oh, you said second. I said, I thought, okay, you mean the bottom one. So is there pressure for them to act the right way?
What?
I don't.
Oh, okay. I thought you were offering me two different moves.
Yeah, I was. And I thought you meant the second move, which I thought was demand. So which move do you want to do it with?
No, demand makes sense. I'm sorry. I was just trying to figure out where you were on screen.
Let's roll back. I don't think you're necessarily offering them something of value in return.
I mean, I picked a good bottle of wine, but I don't know how much of an alcoholic she is.
I'm going to say no on that one.
Okay.
I don't think they love you, but I do think you are, after having heard that conversation downstairs, you are well in over your head.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You are, however, not suffering any conditions.
I'm not.
So roll with a +1.
Oh, no, this is going to go terribly. Oh, no, it's an 11.
What do you want to remove as an option?
I think, again, I would like to remove the refusal. She either has to let me in or...
I think that they concede, but there's very clearly that delay here. But eventually she says for you to come in, and she will walk you through the suite, and you can see that the bed is disheveled, rumpled, that there's clothing thrown in a pile off to the side. You don't see her gentleman caller, but you're guessing he's taken the moment to go and hide either in the closet or in the bathroom or something.
Do I hear him breathing heavily? Like,
it's probably obvious that he's still here, but you're not sure exactly where he is. And she's like, yeah, yes, come and join me out here on the balcony.
of course. How long would it take me to spot something out of place?
Oh, you could do the move.
All right.
It only takes a long time if you fail.
Oh no.
Do you want to read her, or are you more interested in figuring out what's up with this dude?
I think first I want to read her.
Okay, absolutely. I don't think you've been intimate.
No.
I think you've got a lot of things on your plate.
I have so many things on my plate.
So again, I think we're at a +1.
Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. I think I did that wrong.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Give me a second. My
Sure.
roll the party is acting strange. It suddenly gave me 4 dice instead of 2.
We have all been there with Roll for Your Party.
Oh no, lol.
I'm sorry, Kaylee, what'd you roll?
A 5.
He's at a 5. So
Terrible 5.
I think when you get out to the balcony, you see Elena's eyes go wide because her gentleman caller has chosen to be out on the balcony. And he looks at you and he pushes you over.
I screamed dramatically.
Could I please have you roll to face certain death?
Of course. 1 second, let me pull it
The
up.
good news is you only roll with a +0. You want low.
Oh, well, there's almost no chance this could go wrong, right?
Almost no chance.
Oh, God. I rolled a 7.
Good. On a 7 to 9, you get to choose one from the face certain death list there on the other moves tab.
Oh, this is hard.
I know. That shouldn't be crossed out.
I am caught personally between someone you choose saves you just in time, in which case Don Diego would have just happened to be strolling around down below, or I could possibly go into a long-term coma, and then Espalda has to deal with the fact that her sending me in alone has caused such a terrible injury.
I think to keep you in the game, though, if you're choosing those two, I think we have to go to the first one.
Yeah, that was my only concern. I was like, it's not quite late enough in the game, so.
Don Diego, how is it that you managed to save poor Alejandra as she is pushed off this balcony?
Well, I'm walking toward the shed with the ladders in it, figuring that I'll have to snap the lock off so that I can get up there and confront these rapscallions and scalawags. And so I hear the scream, I look up, I see her falling, and I just catch her.
You're both knocked to the ground. Air is knocked out of your lungs. The breath is thrown out of you. But
I did not smash the bottle of wine.
Oh yeah,
it's important.
So you still have it in hand. You will see briefly Elena take a brief glance over the edge of the thing and see that you're alive. Her eyes go wide, and then they both clearly scamper back into the room. Don Diego, what do you say to Alejandra?
My Alejandra, is this some new fashion amongst the youth? Do you routinely jump off of balconies? Is this something I should know about you?
I did not jump, sir. I was pushed by a man in Elena's room.
Pray tell, who did this?
Do I know what the groom looks like, Lowell?
I don't think you even had a chance to see who that was who pushed you off.
I have no idea, sir. No idea at all. It was just a man in Elena's room, and she didn't want to let me in, and Espalda had asked me to check, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe he would have hidden in the bathroom or the closet or somewhere with doors, but he hid on the balcony and he shoved me, sir.
Well, this changes matters considerably.
Sir?
I begin looking at the wall, seeing if there's a way that I can scale it.
3 floors up, I think given that we already established that the ladder is necessary, I think it would be
unusual
to do that.
He's secretly Spider-Man.
It's not that melodramatic.
What do you want to do, Don Diego?
Come. Walk with me. And Alejandra?
Yes?
For the remainder of the day, you are to stay by my side under my protection to ensure that nothing else happens to you.
I have no protest, sir. Should we not inform Espalda? Or at the very least, Ladonna? He tried to murder me.
Ladonia will understand. There is a scoundrel afoot in her hotel. One who tried to harm someone that she cares very much about. And I have no doubt this is likely through some business of Espalda's.
But she had said...
You will remain with me under my protection until we can establish who tried to do this and ensure that they do not try this again with anyone, ever.
That's some finality there. Let's cut from that. Don Diego, I assume you're going to go and get the ladder, or do you going somewhere after that?
Well, by this point, after that conversation, doesn't it seem likely that whatever scoundrel had done this would have fled?
Yes.
So there's not much point in getting the ladder, is there? I mean, I'm a gentleman. I know about such things.
Yes.
There's already too much time for them to get away. There's already been an incident. So whatever advantage I hope to obtain by sneaking up on them is now gone. Therefore, there's no reason to do that.
We could check the security tapes, though.
Are there security cameras on the balcony?
There's security cameras in the hallways, certainly.
Well then, what an excellent suggestion. I defer to your judgment, Alejandra. Let us go check these security cameras.
Let's do that move, and then we're going to come back to Espalda.
I may have something that appears on those security tapes, though.
So let's do Espalda then first.
Because I'd like to flash back to preparations.
Okay.
I think that as Espalda has gone out and I've had my moment with Dolores and she's left, we see me look Juanita would have opened the door to have let Dolores out. As I call her over. Let's see. Spalda will be. I'm sorry. God, I'm so horrid with names.
Alejandra?
Alejandra. Alejandra will be going to. Everybody's name. Elena, is that it?
Elena, yeah.
Elena. Elena's room. I'm sure this is going to flush out someone who is there, and he'll want to get away. We need to be ready to speak with him. And Alana's relationship with Dolores, she used to work here.
Yeah.
And she's back here as a well-to-do patron.
Yes. She was not treated particularly well here. She was the La Empleada of her day who was put upon, left, and now has come back.
Excellent. When he comes out, I would like for you, and I'll look back towards the rest of the gang, to have a little chat with him, as I'm going to speak with Alana. This is going to be such that I think Dolores probably knew this sort of nefarious thing was going on. We just need to convince the two of them that that's the case.
Yes, El Jefe. Let's have you flash back to time you made preparations. You had some time to do it because she had to go to the sommelier and so on. You have someone looking out for trouble, so yeah, you've got your gang to do that. And are you taking control of the situation?
Yes, and I think I'm sending them, but I plan to be close by so I can come up and speak to Alana when they get him.
Okay. Let's have you roll with a +3. There's almost no chance you can fail.
Oh, hush you all. All right. I'll take the submit. Well, I did fail at least. That's an 8.
So on a 7 to 9, mark a condition, or I will give you a worse outcome or a hard bargain.
Mark a condition or a worse outcome or a hard bargain. I'm conditioning all over the place at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Heading towards that meltdown.
I am. I don't know if I want that.
You could just, I'll have something bad happen.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the worst outcome here. That seems a little more fun than just conditioning.
I think that when this guy comes out, and what is her name again? The
Juanita.
Juanita. Juanita is there, and this guy moves into his coat, and she sees that, and she grabs him, and without thinking, she spins him, and she smashes his face into the wall, and you hear the crack as his arm gives, and you see her drop the groom with a bloody, battered face and a broken arm onto the floor of the hall.
I don't know it, but he deserves that.
And you hear the shriek as Elena sees that happen, and then sees you step in the way.
We need to have a chat.
DeRosa. We'll come back to this chat in a second. Let's go to the security tapes, shall we? Let's, when you check the security tapes to find out who was at location at a certain time, roll with the questions. And you go and you speak with Santino Pinto. He's the a well-dressed chief of security. And so here are the questions. And who is doing the roll on this? Which of you?
That's a good question. Kaylee, do you want to do the roll, or do you want me to do the roll?
Why don't you do the roll? I think you would have more sway with the security man than me, just on a whole, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Seems fair. Are you viewing the footage with more than just the security guards? Yes, there are two PCs there. So that's a yes. Do you also have something to hide on the tapes, Don Diego?
I'm going to say yes because of that breakfast on the terrace.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And are you doing this without guile then?
I think so. I mean, this seems pretty guileless. I want to find out exactly who.
I think either you're hiding something or you're guileless there. I think one or the other. Which is still a +2.
All right.
Let's have you roll.
Wow, looks like everything got cleared on the roll for your party page, right?
It happens.
Oof. Oh wait, that's 6 + 2. That's an 8. Okay.
On an 8, so you get to choose one of these results. The sound is good enough to hear what people are saying. The video is good enough to definitively ID people, or you discover a secret that you weren't looking for.
Kayla, what do you think?
I would say either the ID or the secret is kind of interesting.
I'll tell you what, you pick.
Oh no.
I mean, the secret might be that we find out that, Espalda just basically kicked the groom's ass.
That could be. Yeah, why don't we go for a secret, lol? That sounds
all right. It's hard to tell who it is there, what exactly happens. You don't see, because you didn't take the clear enough, you don't ID people, except you're pretty sure that's the groom coming out, and this woman throws him against the wall and hurts him, and then another woman, again hard to make out, steps into the room. But the one figure that you will make out there, Alejandra, is you see your brother Julio lifting this guy up, and you're clear that your brother is one of these enforcers here.
Of course he is.
Does that sound like a good result?
Yes.
Okay. We'll come back to you two in a bit. I want to go and do Espalda's, and then I want to come back to Dolores. So let's do it in that order. Espalda, Elena steps back, and you don't see Alejandra in here.
I will, because I was coming in to be all business to deal with the situation, but I look. Where is this Alejandra?
She left.
I know that's a lie.
Oh, yes.
Well, I know she is a lie. She left out the door. I'm going to reach up and grab the front of whatever she's wearing. Pull her clothes. Where is Alejandra?
There was an accident on the balcony, but she's fine.
An accident?
Yes.
Is there a way for me to penetrate to the truth on this?
I think that is accuse someone of lying.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And so I think I slap her and say, "You're lying to me."
I think you have an audience because there are people, your gang outside. I don't think you necessarily have evidence, but I do think you are taking command. So let's have you roll with a +2.
All right. That's a 9.
It was Tomas. He was hiding on the balcony, and she came out, and he panicked and pushed her off the balcony, and
What?
Don Diego was below and caught her. She should be fine. She'd be fine.
Of course, that old spider would be there to catch her in his web. You're going to listen to me now, and this is your only hope. When the police come, and the police will be coming, you're going to tell them everything just like you told me. Thomas is going to go to jail.
But he is the groom.
He will be a groom from prison then. But I will try to, and this probably is me lying through my teeth, arrange for it to be a short term. And you, I will attest, I will help that you are blameless in this. But you must do a favor for me. Dolores knew all along that the groom was coming to your room.
Yes, she did. She did. Let's have you, though, demand what you deserve.
All right.
To make sure that she concedes this. She does have to mark an extra condition if she doesn't, because you have the physical upper hand here.
Okay.
You are offering something of value in return.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll give you +1 for that. You've also got another +1 from your righteous and your question. So +3.
All right. Come on, roll well, please. God, 7.
I think she has to agree. I mean, you have got a hit on her. She's an NPC. If she doesn't, she's going to have to mark a couple conditions, and she sees your gang dragging the groom away. She goes, I will do this thing.
Good, Ilana. You have chosen very wisely. And I'm going to stalk out after my gang with Thomas there. We're going to have a less friendly chat with him.
When he just says, where do we take him? You go to the pool house. It's quiet. No one's by there. No one will hear.
Yes. Yes. And don't be too gentle.
She picks him up by that broken arm and stuffs a sock in his mouth. Yes.
At that point, I think the suite next to the Sunset Suite opens up, and Dolores sticks her head out and says, actually, you are not taking that groom anywhere, but you will take yourselves to the pool house. Your boss and I have something to discuss.
Ooh, which scheme are you activating here?
I'm gonna... Actually, I guess I'm activating revenge.
Okay. They look at you.
I think I'm going to agree to them going, but they're definitely taking Thomas with them. Unless there's some way Dolores can stop that.
You can definitely get Espada there. You could try to demand what they deserve to get her to leave Tomas.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll demand what I deserve.
Yeah, you'll definitely get her to stay. That's your scheme. And now let's see if you what costs you'll have to pay.
Oh, actually, sorry. I was trying to use revenge on yeah, Espalda. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the revenge
Okay.
works. It doesn't have a roll, but let's see if you can convince her to have Tomas stay.
Okay.
So-
So demand what you deserve. Are you offering something of value in return? No, there's no offer. I'm just demanding. And I'm quite certain no one here loves me right now.
That is correct.
I'm not keeping my hands clean either, but I am zealous, so I add a +1.
So you're rolling with a +1.
12.
Oh, choose one of those options that Espalda cannot take.
You can't refuse and escalate.
So Espalda, do you want Tomas to be removed and she takes something from you? Or do you want to concede that Tomas gets left and you get to clear a condition?
Oh, that's a hard one. I've got my ace in the hole, though, with Alana. I think that I move over to Juanita and the gang, and Tomas, and I whisper in his ear, "You better listen to your girlfriend when she talks to you next," and let him go. He disgusts me.
Pulls the dirty sock out of his mouth.
And I wave the gang away as I move back over to you, Dolores. I'm surprised that you would protect this man, considering what he's done to Alejandra.
I'm not protecting anyone. I'm prolonging his punishment. And can I flash back to preparations?
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, so this morning when I confronted the best man, he dropped some hints that he left the evidence that Alana was involved somehow.
Yes.
So since then, I've had secret bugs activated to like record what's been going on in her room.
Okay. That seems like good. You've had time to do it. I don't think you've necessarily had somebody looking out for trouble. You've been doing this on your own.
Yeah.
So that's a +1. And what about your main question?
Are you keeping your hands clean? I mean, I was doing it all on my own with like my own setup and my own hotel.
So I think a +1.
Okay. I think I got an 11 again.
You are hot. So on a hit, choose one. You stowed away something hidden. So yeah, you have those bugs.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, if I can, talk to Alana, the groom, Thomas, and Espalda, like all at once, if I can. Just get us, and the other two can feel free to walk in at a dramatic moment.
Yeah, actually, let's. Are you guys okay if we bring everybody together on scene here?
Yes, please. Please do.
So we get this room. We see Espalda come in, scowling. Tomas is on one of the chairs, like he's there, but he's weeping. Elena is keeping her face impassive. We see Dolores, calculating, and Don Diego, Alejandra. We see you two show up. Does that seem fair?
Fair enough.
And you will come in. You see the other two arrive on scene. What do you say, Dolores? You have the floor.
Alejandra, you're quite all right?
I am only shaken, madam, only shaken.
Wonderful. Tomas, if she had died or even been injured, there is no angel in heaven that could save you from my vengeance. That being said, we find ourselves in an interesting predicament. Tomas, you tried to murder someone under my protection. Elena, perhaps you helped.
And then he shuts up when you look at him.
Elena, perhaps you helped him. Perhaps you didn't. The footage and the estimate and the evidence and the testimonials could go either way. We'll talk about that. Espada, one of your underlings assaulted one of our guests. We will discuss that as well. But for now, there are a few things we need to make clear. Tomas, you're going to get married tomorrow, and we're going to get you on enough painkillers that you can hide that little broken arm. And you're going to remember how I am the only reason you're not in prison right now, and you're going to remember that for the rest of your life.
And he's cringing. I want to hear what Don Diego says to this.
My dear Dolores, as always, you are wise. However, given that we have known each other for some time, may I offer a piece of advice?
Go right ahead.
It is clear that Tomas does not love Amaya. Certainly you wouldn't wish that on a woman who doesn't want it, would you?
Oh.
Love won't fill your belly or keep you warm at night. Love isn't enough.
No, it won't. You and I, we're old enough to know these things. I'm not saying that he will not marry. I merely suggest that he marry another. One who has at least demonstrated some measure of affection for him.
Who?
She stands right there. And I look at Elena.
It's like, that is not going to happen.
Tell me, what would it do to your career to have those security tapes released? For the entire country to see you cavorting with a man about to be married to someone else? What would that do to your reputation? You can have a whirlwind romance, be married for 6 months, divorce, and I'm sure you'll get a nice settlement in the divorce. To do what you were doing just a few hours ago for a few months.
Diego, you never see the big picture.
Of course I see the big picture. This protects your hotel. The wedding occurs. The wealthy patrons are satisfied. And we save someone from a life that they don't want.
That protects us for a year, perhaps 2. Or they get married. One of the greatest political alliances in the country is formed, and we have dirt on most of the key party, half the major figures for the rest of their lives.
We have that dirt anyway.
It's not enough. You understand? If we blackmail him on his own, we get a pittance. If we blackmail the marriage, the united alliance of the two families. Oh,
Alejandra, listen to your boss. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. This is so far out of what I thought running a hotel entails, you know? Just wow.
You're really in over your head.
Oh my gosh. I was just so proud of the cake.
And it's not just that. Look at how Espalda's behaving. Who's behaving with any level of integrity or nobility here?
She sent me into the room by myself. I nearly died if you had not been there. Yes.
yes. She did, didn't she, Espalda?
I will have come over to you, Alejandra, when all of this horrible things are being said. I would have already come over to you, and as you know, there's this moment. Are you all right? I would have never put you in danger. I couldn't have imagined they would be pushed to such extremes. I was waiting outside in case something happened. As soon as I learned, there is nothing I wouldn't do if you were hurt.
This is a lot. This is a lot. He's bleeding, but he tried to kill me. She doesn't love him, but she's breaking up a marriage. My boss, who has taken care of me for so long, is implicating that we should blackmail some of the most powerful people politically in our country, or will be.
I think you are processing your feelings out loud by accident here, Kaylee.
I am. I needed to move, but I couldn't figure it out.
Diego, are you rooting for Alejandra?
I'm always rooting for Alejandra.
And what about you, Espalda? Are you rooting for Alejandra?
Oh, absolutely.
And what about you, Dolores? Are you rooting for her?
Yep.
Then roll with a +3, Alejandra.
Okay. That's a 9.
I think that I'm going to GM Fiat reveal a scene that is going on even as this is happening.
Oh, no.
And that is that we see the ladder hit against Amaya's wall. We see Victor climb up. We see him go. We see him speak with her. She embraces him. He stands tall, trying to emulate Don Diego. And the two of them go down the ladder. And they make their way to a waiting car, and they drive off.
May I make two suggestions?
Sure.
It's my car,
Yes.
and there's a stack of $10,000 in the glove compartment for them.
Oh, okay. Yes. I like that. And I think that will be rewarded by LaDonna, El Jefe. One of the staff comes in, sees this weird tableau, and says, LaDonna, it seems that some time ago the bride left.
What?
Yes, she and some young man left in a green sports car.
I see. I will handle this. Return as you were.
See.
Well, Don Diego, I see. It appears fate is on your side.
I have the slightest hint of a smile at the corner of my mouth. Perhaps so. But I'm sure fate will smile on you also. There is, after all, still a wedding that can be held.
We were all shocked and appalled when the bride vanished, but perhaps it was for the best, because Tomas finally discovered his true feelings for Alana, and we still have the cake, and we can still have the reservations, and yes.
And you still have the blackmail of his attempted murder.
Yes. I will make sure you're duly compensated for your stress, Alejandra.
I see. Perhaps.
It was unintentional, but you were a key part of this.
And standing beside you, I think you see me stiffen as Alejandra, you don't have to be a pawn in these people's games. I love you.
And who was it that just said, sometimes love isn't enough?
Dolores.
Yes. It wasn't enough for her.
And it certainly isn't for you.
You presume to know too much, you old fox. I don't see anyone beating down your doors.
I'm an old man. The only door I have left to beat down are the gates of heaven.
While I assault the ramparts of love.
Precisely. Your love is an assault. You're a brute, and your affection is brutish.
Alejandra, what is your choice?
Oh, God.
These three figures are speaking here. Where do you turn? All comes to you.
I want to make one more. Alejandra, you are not some paw in my schemes. You are. I've had, over the course of my life, 3 siblings, 6 nieces and nephews, a handful of greater relatives, and all of them put together are not worth you. Stay with me, and I will make you my heir.
Oh my God.
Alejandra, what do you choose?
Oh my God, Bull.
Honor, love, or money?
Ah. Oh my God. Can she just faint? Like,
absolutely. That is absolutely the perfect thing.
I'm so overwhelmed.
That closes the episode. We roll the credits, and then we go next time on. And Don Diego, what is it we see for a segment of next time on with Don Diego scene? What do we see?
I'm being lowered towards surging seawater from a rope ladder attached to a helicopter to pull someone away from the waiting jaws of sharks.
Perfect. It looks like they're going to blow the budget on that sequence. It's great. Dolores, what is the next time on we see? What's the shot we see of you?
I'm having a shadowy discussion with the former mayor. And at the end, I say, "You're right. Espalda needs to die."
Perfect. And Espalda, what is your next time on that we see for you?
We see Espalda tied to a chair. There is a ticking bomb sitting on a crate in front of her as she struggles, and we hear someone from from off screen saying, "There's no way you'll escape this time, Espalda."
And Alejandra, what is it that we see for you for the next time on?
I think it's me sitting in a room like getting dressed for the day of work, and the baker comes up behind me because she had something she wanted.
Puts one crone-like hand on your shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And that is our show. That is our episode. That is our game. Thank you all very much. I love this game so much. I do. Every time I run it, I have a good time. So let's do just a quick round of just stars, things that you dug, plays, moments, anything. Let's go in that same order. Puckett, anything you want to point to today?
Alejandro is amazing. Just absolutely straight up, no questions asked. Amazing. I loathed Despalda, so fantastic role playing there. She was awful, terrible, just an utterly despicable person with barely any redeeming qualities. There were a couple of redeeming qualities she had. She loved Alejandro, and Alejandro loved her, so she wasn't entirely without merit. And I wish we had more time to explore the relationship between Dolores and Don Diego, because I think there was a lot there. Kyle, I always have fun role-playing with you. I never know what you're going to do or what direction you're going to go. Thank you for not killing my character this time. And Lola, as always, thank you. That was fantastic.
I had a good time with this. Kyle, things you want to point to?
Yeah, I think I just had really great interactions with everyone's characters. Espalda, yeah, Tyler, I think we had a good interplay back and forth. Great sort of like mysterious past connection with Don Diego, and I think Kelly, you nailed the whole the overwhelmed thing. Yeah, that very fair. Yeah.
Awesome. Tyler, you're muted.
Yep, I'm trying to click it. It's off to the side there. Well, this was lovely. I mean, everything ramped. It just kept going. All the things you added in really pushed us in great directions. Puckett, this was that character fantastic. Elements of just such a smooth operator. Just very nicely done. Lots of very cool twists and turns in his story. Kyle, I loved how you did Dolores. The kind of outrage of her and having kind of the victory snatched from your clutches there towards the end. How you reacted was wonderful. Seeing you center when things had just gone askew, just all right then, well, we'll handle it this way, was spot on. It was so nicely done. And Kaylee, that was tour de force. That was so freaking good. She was so sweet. At the same time, seeing her willing to go out and do, just such a person to care about in this show where everybody's kind of conniving. It was, perfect balance for the rest of us. And then to boot with that, your decisions and the things that you came up with in play, magnificent. Such a good job. Oh my gosh. So lovely game.
And Kaylee?
I just want to say this is probably the most fun I've had the whole weekend. This is cream of the crop. I am so excited. This was so much fun, and I'm still a little overwhelmed. Like, everyone did so immensely good. I believed every character. This was a great time. Like, I am so pleased. Like, I'm sad for whoever dropped out, but I'm so pleased I managed to sneak in. But yeah, this is great. I
told you. I told you it was good.
I know you did, but I was like, this is Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. By the way, Kaylee is my niece, and so that's
Oh, how lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Hopefully good
and
things.
when I had somebody drop out, I talked to her and I was like, "Hey, you want to come over? Come and join the game?" And she was generous enough to come. God, I love this game so much. So much fun. Thank you all for leaning into it, and just wow, I had such a good time. This was super fun for me. So thank you all. I'm going to stop recording. Stop that.